Please disregard. I attempted an informal greeting, but I am dissatisfied with the results.
Whew. Always a satisfying moment to return to your ship.
Ship's ready. Any star.
Everything looks so pretty up here. We're in orbit.
Are you working toward that next technological leap? Then let Ryujin Industries help you get there. Fill out an application here to become licensed in advanced Steve conversion in the civil surgeries. Dislocated limbs. We also sell a full range of personal treatment products, so you can take Reliant Medical with you wherever you go. Reliant Medical. It's time for treatment.
Hey there. Got the shakes, huh? Don't worry. Doc Manning will fix you up.
Is it that obvious? Yeah, haven't zoned in like a week. My whole body feels like it's crumbling.
Yeah, coming down off Aurora isn't easy. Took me months to shake it off.
The doc, he isn't gonna, rat me out to anyone, right?
You kidding? No one cares if you're addicted to the stuff. Hell, that's what they want.
Well, if it worked for you, I hope it works for me. I'm sick of feeling this way when I can't get a fix. I'll just rest until the doc's ready to talk to me.
You aren't looking well at all. Perhaps you'd better sit down. Oh my goodness, another poor soul. Alright, tell me what happened to you. Is it an Aurora overdose? Something else perhaps? Unfortunately, yes. You see, the more Aurora that a user absorbs, the more resistance their body builds up to its active ingredients. That means the user needs larger and larger doses in order to feel its full effect. Eventually, the doses get so incredibly large, the user's nervous system simply can't handle the overload. That's a very wise choice. Since you're clearly a first-time visitor to Reliant Neon, I'd love to offer you a free checkup, but I'm afraid I'm dangerously low on supplies. I can assure you it isn't by choice. You see, I'm a bit at odds with the current administrator of Neon. His drug is turning the streets into a graveyard, and he doesn't seem to care. We've argued about it on more than one occasion, and all he's done is try to persuade me to quit. Thinning out my supply chain is his newest tactic. I've spoken to the people at Reliant Medical Corporate, I've talked to the Freestar Rangers, I've even gone to the Freestar Collective Council. Every answer is always the same. We're working on it. It's corruption at the highest levels. Ugh. So aggravating. Then you understand what I'm up against. At this point, I've resorted to asking anyone that has a ship registered outside of the Volii system to bring me medical supplies. I pay them for the supplies, of course, but It's the only way I can sneak them past Bayou's people at the spaceport. Now, if there's anything else I can do for you, anything at all, you just let me know. Aurora stimulates the neural circuits in the brain, specifically targeting the neurotransmitter serotonin in the prefrontal cortex. This causes significant sensory hallucinations, both auditory and visual. That's the enticement factor. As you can imagine, this state is highly addictive, and the user gets stuck in a vicious cycle. They need more Aurora to satisfy their cravings. Well, it's completely dependent upon how long the user's been addicted. People who have been using for, say, 2 years or less, I've been able to put through a full detoxification program successfully. But there are others who have been addicted pretty much all their adult lives, and I have yet to try and cure someone who hasn't relapsed. I'm sure I have something I can spare. This is all I have right now. Let's take a look. There's nothing wrong with you. You appear in perfect health. That would be amazingly helpful. It's a relief to meet someone who gives a damn about anyone other than themselves for a change. Oh, and I'll pay you directly for the supplies, of course. It's the only way I can sneak them past Bayou's people at the spaceport. I use the proceeds from my paying customers, and by cutting a few expenses here and there, I'm able to use a bit of my own money. It's not a bother, really. The cots here at the facility are actually quite comfortable. There's nothing to worry about. As long as packages aren't coming off a commercial vessel, the authorities won't scan them. That's why this has to be done slowly and methodically. If I get too much all at once, they'll catch on to my scheme. Don't worry about me. You just watch yourself. Administrator Bayou doesn't like people that rock the boat, if you catch my meaning. Anyway, I have a contact over at the clinic in the Narian system. Abby Edding? She's one of the nurses there. She'll get you started. Thank you so much for doing this. You have no idea how helpful it'll be for the poor folk that live in Ebside. We both apprenticed under Mary Cartwright at the medical facility in Aquila City. Spent a heck of a lot of hours working together. Abby and I got along exceptionally well. Don't get me wrong, we're just friends, of course. She's young enough to be my daughter. I almost felt bad leaving her behind when I was hired to work for Reliant in Neon, but I knew she'd do well wherever she ended up. Reached out to her a few months ago when I ran into trouble here, and she's been helping me ever since. Try not to get hurt out there.
Catherine Luzion keeps demanding you look into her husband's murder.
dock at the clinic, the best medical facility in the settled system.
Airlock and get aboard.
Hello.
Ma'am, I'm just the courier.
I understand that. I'm not blaming you directly. Dr. Salvato, how long have you been here?
About a year now, Doctor.
And in that year, how many times have we had this conversation about late or missing shipments of supplies?
I believe this is the third time.
Yes, that sounds right. 3 times. I will be making it very clear to your superiors that lives are at stake, and the clinic requires reliable transport. If your company cannot meet our needs, someone else will.
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Thank you, Dr. Salvato. You may return to your duties.
I hate this delivery run. Can't ever get here fast enough.
There's certainly no shortage of things to do around here.
Need some work done? Anything I can help you with?
Thanks for delivering critical supplies would be nice to hear once in a while.
Saw your ship come in. Nice ride.
If they haven't rushed me back, means it can't be that bad, right?
Every new alien pathogen we discover is just a little more job security. Gotta look on the bright side, right? You know, just by breathing the air in here, you are being exposed to about a dozen different viruses. I'm kidding. Probably.
There's such a mountain of work, I could really use a hand. But I don't want to inconvenience anyone. Whatever you do, don't let anyone in here sneeze on you. That happens. We can't let you leave. Tending physician, I'm new here, so really what I do is watch Dr. Darvish's every move and try to imitate it. Sounds a lot less impressive when I say it out loud. It's really a matter of safety, believe it or not. The types of things we work with here, let's just say you wouldn't want them spreading on a populated planet. In here, we're all nice and isolated, just in case. Not the most comforting thought, but it's the truth. Oh, well, that's appreciated. There really isn't anything you're qualified to do in here. No offense, of course. But, I do have some data requests from other facilities in the settled systems. Everyone always wants to know what we're up to.
Usual courier has been less than reliable lately, so if you could get this slate where it needs to go, that would help us, and put a few credits in your pocket.
Thanks for stopping by.
We get the cases no one has ever seen before or doesn't know how to treat. Are you here for a procedure? New-ish. I've only been here a year, which, well, when you compare it against Dr. Darvish's career, it's not much, is it? I'm thrilled to have the opportunity, but it's been an adjustment. Very few cases here are simple, and most of them are medical emergencies. I guess that depends on what you consider a break. We get some time to ourselves. We're not on call all the time, but we're never that far away from it either. Now that I think about it, I haven't actually left the clinic since I got the job. I actually hadn't really noticed. No, not really. This is my home now. The people here are wonderful, and the work we're doing is incredibly important. That's what really matters. Hey, let's keep our voices down. The clinic doesn't exactly know I'm giving its supplies away. That being said, I've been expecting someone soon. I've heard Bayou really has a vice grip on Neon right now. I have some supplies I can give you. Should be more than enough for now, and it shouldn't draw any suspicion from the clinic. I'll have them loaded onto your ship. He's a good friend of mine. We both worked at the same clinic in Aquila City. The work was hard, and I was really young and nervous, but he always looked after me during those days and helped me as much as he could. So, to answer your question, I'm doing this because I know for a fact he'd do the same for me. No questions asked. What the clinic doesn't know won't hurt them. That's why it's important to keep this as confidential as possible. I'm putting my job on the line to do this, but I know that the people of Neon need help. I'm willing to take the risk and skim a few supplies from the clinic. But if the clinic finds out, then I'm out of a job and Neon is out of supplies. Again. So, let's not be too conspicuous. Sorry, I can't do that. This is the most I can give you without drawing suspicion. Maybe so. I hear you. I'm trying to be reasonable here. Oh, I really shouldn't do this. If the clinic finds out... All right. You win. You're very persuasive. I can throw in a few extra supplies, but I'm not going to make this a regular thing, okay? They'll be loaded onto your ship.
You'd be surprised how many times I have to argue that we prioritize tech updates.
It's encouraging to know that every case we cure here likely means dozens or hundreds more can be saved in the future.
Whatever you do, don't unplug anything. You do, and I'll make sure you wind up in one of these hospital beds. I'm kidding. Sort of. Oh, you're not familiar? I'll give you the quick version. UC built the station back in 2194. It was outside of their established territory, which caused a bit of a disagreement and a bit of a war. And after what I think most people would agree was much too long a period of time, the war ends. One of the terms was the station was handed over to the Free Star Collective. Never really thought about it that way. Guess you're right. Although, is that really irony? I feel like I don't really understand what qualifies. So since then, the clinic's been under Free Star Collective control. Over 100 years now, I think. Over time, it started to focus more on weird things. People picked up on all sorts of planets and space expeditions, became known for it, and now focuses on it almost exclusively. And here we are today, carrying on that work. Actually makes me feel kind of proud when I lay it all out like that. Well, yeah, somebody has to. It's great medical care, but not the latest in support tech. Funding only goes so far, and most of it's prioritized for keeping patients alive. And there's still a lot of outdated UC tech behind the walls that needs interfacing, so I stay plenty busy. You know, I used to. Then I realized I could catch something just about anywhere, and if I did, this would be about the safest place in the galaxy to be. So, I feel like it kind of all evens out.
Well, then I'd be out of a job, wouldn't I? You're not entirely wrong, though. But someone would have to convince Dr. Darvish it was a priority, and I gave up on that effort years ago. All right, see you around.
Welcome to the clinic. I'm Dr. Darvish, Chief of Medicine. Is there something I can do for you? I thought perhaps the name gave it away. This is one of the preeminent medical care centers in the Settle systems. We take our work very seriously. This is hardly the sort of place one comes to sightsee. We have a particular focus on astrovirology here, so the patients we take on tend to have unusual cases that require long-term care, and sometimes require unorthodox or experimental treatments. We have an excellent track record that speaks for itself, but it doesn't leave room for much else. Now, I will not insist that you leave, but if you are intent on looking around, as you put it, please don't interfere with our work, and keep your distance from our patients. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of new worlds that humanity has set foot on. While many don't host some sort of life, there are more than enough that do. Any one of those worlds could be inhabited by all manner of pathogens, things we've never seen and have no idea how to treat. Someone has to try and stay ahead of what could be a very deadly curve. Here at the clinic, we do our best. If we do it right, no, not usually. An abundance of safety protocols are in place, and we have decades of experience. Ironically, this may be one of the safest environments in the Settle systems. I am, yes. I took over from Dr. Eswaran when he retired 9 years ago. While the clinic does occasionally take on research projects that have their own chain of command, I am ultimately responsible for the entire facility. The clinic has occasionally been faced with unique situations that might be considered hazardous in other facilities, but no, nothing that could not be contained and dealt with. I'm afraid that information is confidential and restricted to our corporate partners funding the projects. Certainly. Would you now? Well, I suppose we could always use additional research specimens. The more data we have about what's out there in the Settled systems, the faster we can diagnose novel illnesses. In theory, at least. I suppose we could consider you an independent contractor of sorts. We've made progress with alien biosuppressants, helping to prevent secondary infections when treating patients, but we could stand to learn more. If you could collect some additional samples, we'd be grateful. What we're looking for are basic organic substances. They could come from any number of flora or fauna on countless worlds across the Settled systems. Just keep your eyes open as you travel and harvest things when you find them. Or frankly, if you can find them at a reasonable price somewhere, purchase them. I'm less concerned with the source than the materials themselves.
If you're thinking about going into medicine, just be really sure before you commit to it. Really sure.
The supplies I gave you are all I can spare.
Hey, Ori, how's the work coming along?
Excellent news, my good doctor. The reports are updated, the last batch of test results are filed, and I reconfigured the database for you.
I hope you managed to get a little rest in there too. You've sure done a lot.
Hey, you and I both know that if I wasn't on top of my game, Dr. Darvish would have me out of here in no time. And not necessarily on a ship. You know what I mean?
No matter how much we learn, we're only just barely staying ahead of the curve.
You had a chance to talk to Dr. Cassidy. Really fun guy. Try humor though. So dry. You might almost think he's non-existent. You had a chance to talk to Dr. Cassidy. Really fun guy. Try humor though. So dry. Almost think he's non-existent.
Are you the courier?
you're not really supposed to be back here. You can just drop the delivery off by the docking port and someone will take care of it. Well, sure. We can't afford to run low on supplies. Never know what kind of medical emergency might pop up at any moment. Well, then you won't have Dr. Darvish breathing down your neck at least. But, well, we're not really set up for having folks just milling about in here. It is a medical facility, after all. If you could just do your best to steer clear of the doctors while they work and not interrupt things, I'd really appreciate it. And if you need anything, I'm right here, okay? Nurse supervisor, dear. I'm the one who takes care of all the doctors, as well as the patients. The more I can look after, the more the doctors can focus on patient diagnosis and treatment. Every role here is important. Well, I wouldn't really say we work together. It just happens to be in the same place. He has his job keeping the peace. I have mine keeping this place running. Truth be told, I think it might drive one or both of us a little crazy if we actually work together. But I do appreciate being able to see him every day, even if it's just to pop over to his office and say hello or share a meal. It's nice. Oh, sometimes, sure. Somebody walks in or is dragged in with something we haven't seen before. You best believe it's all hands on deck. Have to find out if it's lethal or contagious, or both. I used to. I think we all did to some degree when we started working here. But really, how does worrying help when you've got people to treat? It just gets in the way. It can be, yes. But we've all learned to live with it. If we didn't do this, who knows how many lives would be lost. It's harder on the newer folks, that's for sure. You take that Dr. Salvato, nice man, but he's a little on the skittish side. He's a good doctor, but just needs a little more confidence, you know? Only been here a year or so, which isn't much compared to some of us. Don't I know it? I just hope Dr. Salvato knows how much we appreciate his hard work. Actually, now that we're talking about this, I wanted to do something nice for him. Give him a little pick-me-up. I overheard something about a meal he hadn't had in a long time. Thought maybe if I could deliver one to him, it'd be a nice gesture. You think you could help with that? Aren't you just the sweetest? You know that Don's Roost restaurant in New Atlantis? The fancy one? Dr. Salvato was talking about the synth liver pate. Said he'd never forget it. You bring me a plate and I'll make sure we brighten up his day.
Gotta hand
Another
it to this
day,
guy.
another shift.
Perhaps we should consider not staying long. Or breathing deeply.
I'd like to recover in peace. I'd rather not have you in here.
Hey there! Well, at least it can't get any worse. Well, no, it definitely can, but trying to stay positive.
Howdy. Good to see someone other than a doctor. That I am. Lucky to be alive, apparently. Me and my brother here have been patients for going on, 4 or 5 months now? Good Lord. I, being the stronger and smarter one, am recovering quickly. Still sick as a dog, but doctors let me roam around to visit my infirm brother here. He was in a coma for months. He's only now making some sort of recovery. Well, I think it's all right, seeing as how my brother and I would be dead if we never came here. Doctors are nice enough, treatments aren't too bad, and food's all right. That doesn't mean I'm not counting down the days until we can leave. I'm itching to go back home. This genius brother of mine was begging me to go on a hike with him on Aquila. He's a real outdoorsy type, you know. Now, being a man of letters, I didn't want to go, but he just kept yapping. So, we go on this hike, right? We don't know where the hell we're going. Well, we got lost, stranded with no food or water. I told him to pack food and water, but the fool forgot. Well, we start scavenging for some food to sustain us, and we come across this thing, like a plant, but I don't know what the hell the damn thing was. Looked tasty enough, so we ate it. Well, the damn thing nearly killed us both. Turns out, we weren't even that far from the city, so we were found by some passerby, and here we are. We got real lucky. Damn right. Damn right. John ate most of the thing. I only took a few bites. Yeah, well, not out of the woods just yet. Things have been pretty hairy for John here. But I think you're right. It'll take more than that to kill the Joseph brothers. Take care now.
Mind your step. It's good to see someone other than a nurse. Can't wait to get back to my farm. The treatments were fine, but the food? Oh, heavens.
To make sure those files are backed up.
Never a dull moment.
Mind your step. Floors in here can be a bit slick at times. Don't ask why. Oh, we're not really supposed to talk about that kind of thing. Doctor-patient confidentiality and all that. Dr. Darvish is pretty strict about that. Well, about everything, but definitely that. Oh, sure. Everyone is really great. Top of their game, medically speaking. I've learned so much these last few years. I try not to take any of it for granted. This career, helping people, it really means something. Back to work then.
Let you through here.
Not exactly a hotbed of criminal activity here, is it?
Well,
That suits me fine. Between you and me, this place sees some weird cases. Gross ones, too. Well, let's see now. I joined up in 2292, so that'd be 38 years now? Damn. Hard to believe, now that I think about it. Almost 40 years. There ain't been many Rangers who served that long, I can promise you that. Well, offhand, I can only think of two. Cassie Hickson made it to 42 years before she caught a bullet from one of them Shaw gang boys. He got himself all liquored up at Aggie's. That's over in Aquila City. Started using the passers-by for target practice. Then there was old Rusty Ortega. Had a good run of 52 years and retired to a farm on Montara Luna. Passed away just a few years back. I suppose I don't think much about it, but when I stopped to count the years, well, they sure do add up. And I'm just here to keep the peace. You need medical help, I'm the last person you want to talk to. Well, you'd be guessing correctly then. Even if there was some kind of trouble, which there almost never is, Freestar Security would handle that. Truth is, this post is what you might call ornamental in nature. Ever since the clinic came under Freestar collective control, there's been a ranger here. I reckon it's to serve as a reminder who's in charge of this place. Is something amiss?
It's a grav drive. I literally can't get here any faster.
I find the interior of this ship comforting.
Let's get to the lodge. We need to discuss this with everyone.
Excusez-moi? Yes, this is yours now. Sure, I've got a minute. Do you have something in mind, or do you just want to pick a star and see what's there? I'm up for anything.
If you get into trouble, Barrett, you know where to find me.
You got it.
Ahoy, Captain!
Clean separation, Captain. Perfect.
Ryujin Industries is looking for the young, bright minds of the future. Apply to it's a dangerous galaxy, but here
Not really my cup of tea, as it were, but I'll follow your lead.
our trained and certified physicians are qualified.
What can Reliant Medical do for you? Please state the nature of your medical emergency. Fantastic. That'll really help out around here. Thanks for everything. These supplies will be put to good use. Here, take this. I threw in a bit extra for you, since you really came through for me.